In the last few days, xAI has looked like a company in freefall. Senior engineers walking out, even a couple of co-founders gone. Everyone on X whispering the same thing. Is this the beginning of the end? It is not the end. It is something far more dangerous for xAI's competitors. A hard reset, a reorg designed to turn a 2.5-year-old startup into a universe-scale machine. This is Money Stories, and today we are not reacting to rumors. We are dissecting the internal all-hands that just laid out what xAI is really building and why the exits happen now. So why does a tiny company, younger and smaller than its rivals, talk about understanding the universe and training on 100,000 H100s on the way to 1,000,000 GPUs? Because Elon Musk is playing a different game. Velocity over size, acceleration over position. And xAI is betting the entire cap table on that idea.
It's really remarkable in pursuit of our goal of understanding the universe. So just going over our accomplishments since inception, it's important to bear in mind that xAI is only 2.5 years old, basically a toddler. And we've nonetheless achieved an incredible amount in a very short period of time.
Competitors are 5, 10, even 20 years old with bigger teams and deeper pockets. Yet this toddler is already claiming #1 in voice, image, and video generation, pumping out more content than all rivals combined. You heard that right. More than everyone else together. Grok 4.2 is beating every other AI on forecasting leaderboards. Imagine and Grokopedia are quietly aiming past Wikipedia toward an Encyclopedia Galactica, folding text, images, and video into a single knowledge asset. This is not a feature set. It is an information monopoly in embryo. Then the hardware play. First to a 100,000 H100 training cluster, already sprinting toward 1,000,000 H100 equivalents. Why does that matter? Because in this game, velocity and acceleration beat current position, and xAI is moving faster than anyone else. All of it in service of one brutal requirement, a Grok Main model that is genuinely useful in engineering, law, medicine. Answers you can count on. So here is the real question. How do you organize a company to keep that kind of speed from tearing it apart? Elon looks at xAI like a living organism. It started as a tiny cluster of elite cells. Now it is big enough that it needs organs, limbs, specialization. In his words, the company has hit the stage where you add more structure so it can be more effective at this scale. The early sprinters who helped reach this point and then left, he thanks them explicitly and closes that chapter with a clean, investor-grade message. The mission continues. The cap table of talent refreshes. Under the new structure, there are 4 application pillars. Grok, Main, and Voice as the core model and interface. A dedicated coding model. Imagine for image and video. Macrohard for full digital emulation of entire companies. Beneath them sit the infrastructure layers. This is not random. It is a product stack designed to turn raw compute into cash flow and ultimately into generalized intelligence. Inside those pillars, the culture is brutally simple. One team member calls it interstellar ambitions and then strips away the corporate fantasy. It is a grind, but it is also an opportunity of a lifetime to work with people who are both smart and obsessed. No bloated middle management, no endless documentation theater. If you are sharp and fast, you just ship.
The vibes here are amazing. And it's truly an environment where if you're a smart person and you want to get shit done, you can get shit done.
That intensity feeds a ruthless hiring bar. Another xAI insider lays out the filter. First, are they clever? Can they solve hard problems that actually move the loss curve? Second, are they driven? Do they want to win, not just collect equity? Third, are they someone you actually want to sit next to at 2 a.m.? The ask is blunt. Go through your phone, your LinkedIn, surface the absolute best, and send them in. Because here is where this all converges. With this new structure, these 4 product lines, and this talent filter, xAI is setting up one thing. A Grok that does not just chat. A Grok that becomes a universal assistant in your car, your phone, your browser. So how did Grok Main Voice evolve from a raw model into that always-on presence?
Yeah, so with the Grok Main, the sort of main foundation model, the intent is that it's genuinely useful in a wide range of areas. So if you're doing engineering or law or medicine, anything, it is useful to you in your job.
Elon ties it to the grand why. He wants Grok to give answers you can count on. He frames it as essential to understanding the universe and making tools that are actually useful, not toys. Inside xAI, they push harder. A team member says they have always been at the forefront of reasoning from Grok 1.5 to Grok 3, and they are done with simple Q&A. The target is an everything app. Legal questions, slide decks, puzzles, one portal that quietly multiplies every knowledge worker's output by 10 in months, not decades. So they merge Grok Main and Voice into a single strike team. In September 2024, OpenAI had advanced voice mode, and xAI had nothing. No model, no product. 6 months later, xAI ships an in-house voice model that surpasses it. 6 more months, and Grok is live in over 2 million Teslas, exposed as a Grok voice agent API, and wrapped in an interface that just works. Small, mission-obsessed teams plus massive compute. That is the operating system behind this always-on assistant. Because if Grok can already sit in your car and your browser, what happens when it starts writing almost all your code for you? Macro is the skeptic turned true believer. He admits the old coding models felt like babysitting a toddler. Now he says they produce good, decent quality code that you still review, but that clearly accelerates you. He only has to describe a problem like he would to an experienced colleague who already knows the codebase. That is not autocomplete. That is a junior team that never sleeps. Those models do not just write code. They debug it. xAI runs hours of Grok-driven tests on their own training stack, then uses that stack to train the next Grok. Recursive self-improvement. Current Grok code training the next generation. You see the flywheel? You see the exponential curve. Inside xAI, coding is not a side quest. It is the main event. They are doubling down on coding, throwing a million H100 equivalent GPUs at a single goal. Build the best coding model in the world. They talk openly about a path to singularity, at least on coding. This is not a feature roadmap. This is an extinction timeline for manual programming. What is the bottleneck? Not talent, compute and energy. And they claim that with SpaceX, they are one team that will win on the compute and space compute. Kernel and compiler engineers are told to automate yourself. That is not a joke. That is a recruiting pitch and a warning label on your own job description. Elon takes it further. He says the entire abstraction stack is about to be vaporized. No more source code as the primary artifact. No more compilers as the gatekeepers.
I think actually things will move maybe even by the end of this year to where you don't even bother doing coding. The AI just creates the binary directly. And the AI can create a much more efficient binary than can be done by any compiler.
You heard that right. Create optimized binary for this particular outcome. Skip the human readable layer. Skip the tool chain. He pegs that shift to the end of this year and says Grok code will be state-of-the-art in 2 to 3 months. That is not a product cycle. That is a countdown. Because once you can describe any system in natural language and get a perfect binary out the other side, what happens when you stop describing software and start describing worlds?
So, yeah, to me, there's like a very high chance, like we actually may build a metaverse before Meta.
Elon does not say this as a metaphor. He calls the shot. Most AI compute goes to real-time video, understanding, and generation, and xAI will lead it. 6 months ago, they had basically nothing in image and video. Now he says they are number one, generating more than everyone else combined. Then he casually adds they will repeat that curve in coding, and Macrohard with Grok 4.2, just the small version of the new stack. How do you go from no diffusion code to a metaverse threat in half a year? By shipping everywhere at once. Imagen is wired into every surface. Into X, where a long press on any image lets you edit or spin it into video. Multiple product updates per day, model updates every other week. The result? Roughly 50 million videos every day, 6 billion images in 30 days, 6 times Google's nano banana volume. That is not a feature. That is an attention vacuum. Inside the team, the mandate is explicit. Anything that you can imagine turned into reality. And to hold that lead for years, Hatin raises the stakes again. By year end, single shot 10 to 20 minute videos with story, with characters, rendered in real time so you can build a world and have it answer you back. You see the pattern. First, they let you describe worlds, then they let those worlds move. The real question is, what happens when those same systems stop animating fantasy and start running an entire digital company for you?
So we're doing the same thing for AI. It's kind of like Inception. We're giving computers to computers. So Macrohard is building a fully capable digital real-time, very important, human emulator.
Toby is the architect type. Calm voice, insane ambition. He spells it out. Macrohard is meant to do anything a human can do on a computer. Coding, CAD, advanced engineering, and medicine. Full rocket engines designed end-to-end by AI. One of the last domains where humans still have an edge. Targeted. Directly, Elon goes bigger. He calls Macrohard xAI's most important project because it emulates entire companies whose output is digital. Software, media, finance. If it lives on a screen, Macrohard is supposed to run it. He even has Macrohard painted on the training cluster roof as a mission statement in steel and silicon. This is not a feature. It is a new corporate species. John is the operator. He talks about strong reasoning models already driving their CLI, giving the team a massive productivity spike. But he points to the real prize. Most software has a GUI. To touch the real economy, the agent must click, drag, log in, ship. Macrohard's goal is simple. GUI native agents that emulate digital output companies and orchestrate an entire desktop end to end. You heard that right. A full stack, screen native labor force. So if AI can run the company, what decides which AI you trust with your balance sheet, your code base, your life's work? Diego steps up, not a marketer, a bottleneck hunter. He says the real constraint now is not GPUs. It is very high-quality evals and training data. So xAI does something Wall Street spreadsheets do not model. They hire the world's foremost experts and sit them inside the loop, grading the model like a live oral exam every day.
That's actually the only eval that really matters.
Medicine, finance, law, voice actors, video editors, not abstract IQ tests, actual work. They throw away common internet evals and replace them with a single standard. Do the human experts agree Grok is useful and correct? That shift trains Grok 4.2 to hunt truth, strip political bias, and speak in clean, decision-grade language. Then comes Grokopedia, their internal library of Alexandria, 6 million articles already, racing Wikipedia's 7 million in English. The ambition is brutal in its clarity. Crush hallucinations so hard that Grok 5 never has to leave the data center. Which raises the real question. If truth now lives inside the walls, what kind of ML infrastructure do you need to keep 100,000 GPUs marching in lockstep? Picture this. One engineer, 15-person pre-training team, staring at 100K fresh H100S and realizing at 30K scale, the software just breaks. Switches flapping, links dying, GPUs burning out, numerics drifting, while you still demand 5-second lockstep across the entire fleet. They rewrote half the framework mid-flight, built a system that keeps marching while the data center tries to kill it, and did it with talent density you do not get when you are one of 1,000 at Macrohard. Then you meet Lee and Min. RL and Inference as a global trading book, training and serving spread across Earth, Soon Space architected to scale from 100K to millions of chips by squeezing parallelism, prefill, decode, and hardening against every known and unknown hardware failure. System hackers only? Over here, Yulong's tiny JAX crew quietly rewires the entire JAX GPU stack. Compiler, runtime, all of it. Their mandate is simple and insane. Make Hello World work at 10K, 100K, then 1 million H100 equivalent GPUs across pre-training, RL, multimodal, end-to-end optimization as a contact sport. At the very bottom, Pranjal's kernels team writes the code that actually lives inside those million equivalent GPUs. Hundreds of thousands of threads per chip, coordinating matmls, attention, cross-GPU chatter, shaving microseconds like basis points in a high-frequency book. If you obsess over low-level systems and algorithms, this is the capital structure of intelligence itself, which leaves one question. Once you have this machine, what hidden plumbing lets real humans and agents actually touch it? Anytime you hit grok.com, wire up API authentication, or obsess over status.x.ai, you are touching a single balance sheet of risk and reliability. The core product infrastructure and API team, largely based in London, they are the quiet market makers of xAI, clearing every request, every token, every outage like a high volatility book. They keep the lights on at 4 p.m. peak. They get paged at night when things break. They own reliability, security, corporate infrastructure. You want hard distributed systems problems with messy data? This is the desk you sit at. Then there is tooling, Ashdeep's crew, the interface syndicate. Their mandate is simple and brutal. build the platforms, frameworks, and infrastructure that let humans and agents actually use xAI products. They started with the Human Data Platform, one place, all the human signal. From there, they expanded into the internal engineering platform that runs deployments, runs evals, exposes training results. If you care about great interfaces and useful frameworks for researchers, agents, tutors, this is the leverage point. Because once these pipes are laid, you still need one more ingredient: raw, planetary scale compute. Heiner steps into frame inside Macrohard's Memphis fortress of silicon, the largest GPU cluster on the planet, and drops the mission in one breath. Keep hundreds of thousands of OS instances, GPUs, CPUs, NICs, switches running as one supercomputer to train the next version of Grok and serve AI to the world. Which means they want people who truly understand nodes, RDMA, and computer systems at a visceral level. Elon calls out 300,000 gigabytes, 300 platform GPUs, while the team casually mentions 847 miles of fiber per data hall across 12 halls, then looks straight at you and asks if you want to be part of the world's largest supercomputer. They are sprinting to more than a gigawatt of power online, backed by the largest Tesla Megapack system on Earth, bigger than Hawaii or South Australia, and brag that data hall 11, with over 27,000 GPUs, 200,000 connections, and over 850 miles of fiber, went from nothing to live in under 6 weeks. They repeat that build cycle over and over, massively parallelized in a fully vertically integrated machine that folds architecture, mechanical, electrical, and structural into one team, chasing not just raw compute, but the highest PUE in the industry, while Tesla Megapacks smooth power and keep them a welcome neighbor in Memphis. Elon calls this xAI's computer advantage, cites NVIDIA's Jensen Huang saying no one is faster at bringing AI compute online than xAI, and then points to Phase 1. 330,000 Grace Blackwells in Macrohard, plus Macrohard with another 220,000 GP300S, all focused on training the models you will touch every day. He jokes about the Jose meme, the one guy digging while 7 watch, and says the quiet part out loud. The difference is that xAI is actually Jose, doing the digging while everyone else is still standing around arguing about shovels, which raises the real question. Once you own the shovels and the mine, who controls the town square, where a billion people talk, trade, and think?
It's where truth is crystallized. Everything is downstream of X.
Nikita steps up. Part-time shit poster. Full-time signal booster. She drops the number first. X now reaches over 1 billion people across its family of apps. Biggest month ever in January. February on track to beat it. First-time downloads up over 50% monthly. New users spending 55% more time per day than 6 months ago. The secret weapon? The rebuilt algorithm and onboarding that turned a 2-0-year ramp problem into an on-ramp stampede. Inside the product, they did surgery on everything. Notifications, web browser, xChat. Every surface rebuilt, articles pushed, 10 times more published, 17 times more read. Subscriptions crossing $1 billion in ARR. They say the path to becoming the #1 app in the world is known now, execution only. Then Elon pivots to infrastructure. Old Twitter DMs were plain text. Now X runs fully encrypted messaging with audio and video calls, disappearing messages, screenshot blocks. He promises the messaging code and the recommendation algorithm will be open source. Grok Chat becomes an open, ad-free, generalized communication layer. A standalone xChat app is coming with desktop sharing and multi-user video. On top of that pipe, X Money is in closed beta. Designed, in his words, to be the place where all the money is. A central rail for every transaction. Why does he keep saying over 1 billion users? Because 600 million use it monthly, but the app sits installed on well over 1 billion devices. Many people only open it when the world catches fire. The strategy is simple. Stack reasons to stay. Communications? Grok. X Money. Make it so you could live your life on X. Turn event-driven usage into daily dependence. Then he lifts the camera from the phone in your hand to the sky above your head. He expects well over 1 billion daily active users. But he ties that to something bigger. To understand the universe, you have to leave Earth. That is the fusion of SpaceX and xAI. Use a global everything app to fund and focus a civilization that extends the light of consciousness to the stars. Which raises the real question. If you are going to run AI at that scale, where do you put the factories and the data centers when Earth is no longer enough? He starts with a brutal energy math lesson. Civilization is using roughly 1% of Earth's potential energy. Even a millionth of the sun's output would be about 1,000,000 times more than everything humans burn today. Why does that matter for AI? Because the only way to tap that fire hose is to leave the tiny dust mote of Earth and move closer to the real asset. The Sunday, it is 99.8% of the solar system's mass. So the roadmap jumps from Earth data centers to Earth orbital data centers. SpaceX becomes the launch arm of this balance sheet. Orbital data centers at 100 to 200 gigawatts of compute per year. A clear path to 1 terawatt per year. Then the question that flips the table. What if you want to go beyond a mere terawatt per year? Answer. You industrialize the moon. Lunar factories build AI satellites. A mass driver hurls them into space. Now you are talking 1,000 gigawatts per year, climbing toward a millionth, a thousandth, even a few percent of the sun's energy, an intelligence scale that makes today's markets look like cave paintings.
I really want to see the mass driver on the moon that is shooting AI satellites into deep space. It's going like shoom, shoom, just one after the other.
He layers on the endgame, a self-sustaining city on the moon, then Mars, then the full solar system, then other star systems where we might find aliens or the ruins of million-year civilizations. And he is blunt. The only way to get those answers is to go out and explore. Here is the uncomfortable truth. xAI is not just training models. It is quietly assembling a vertically integrated machine for universe-scale intelligence and distribution, from Grok 4.2 to Macrohard to orbital data centers tied into X and real money flows. What does that mean for you? It means the next decade of wealth creation will belong to the people who see this shift early and position around it, instead of reacting after Wall Street has already priced it in. This is Money Stories. If you want more deep dives like this, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what you want decoded next.